welcome to today's video. I feel like I'm gonna be scratching my nose all throughout this video because my allergies are just like, they're really hitting me hard, but I really wanted to make sure to film this video now to get ahead of the game. Today I'm going to be talking about all of my Cozy Witchy book recommendations. I know there's a ton of them out there, but this is going to kind of be like a little bit of, some of them are reviews because I've already finished reading them, and then others are just ones that I recommend. And maybe if you're like me and you like Cozy Witchy books, then maybe you'll want to read them too. So if you see my red nose, the reason is because I have allergies. So just like I'm gonna try to not touch my face as much as possible, but I can, like I said, I can just like feel the itchiness just like creeping in on me. Let's get into some books. I've been reading a lot. July I read 6 books. I was very proud of myself. August I took a break. We went to California, and then when we came back I just like wasn't reading as much. September I jumped back into reading, and I think I only read like 2 books in September. 2 or 3. Now that it's October, I just finished 1 book, and I have 2 more library books that I need to finish before October 19th. And both of them are actually witchy books. Actually, one of them is more of like a fairy book, but I'm still considering it as part of like being in the magical realm. Let's get started. I have about 10 books here. Maybe I might add in a couple more. First book that I want to talk about is Kikis Delivery Service. So I'm sure a lot of people have actually seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend. It's the most cozy witch story out there. I mean, it's just so wholesome, low risk problems, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of drama is what I'm trying to say. It's so mellow, but not to the point where you're going to be bored. It's just very like wholesome and feels like really like, I don't know how to explain it. If you've seen the movie, the way that you feel about when you're watching the movie is like exactly how the book feels as well. The movie is not a direct translation of the book. There are a lot of similarities, but there's a lot that happens in the book that doesn't happen in the movie. So even if you have watched the movie, I still think it's a good choice to read the book. If you haven't read the book or seen the movie, Kikis Delivery Service is about a young witch. After turning 13, she moves to a new town by herself, well, along with her cat, to practice her training. She finds this town that's near the coast and really falls in love with it, but a lot of people are not really sure about like witches because they haven't seen one in a really long time in that town. And so she kind of makes a business for herself as a delivery person. While having this business, she makes a couple of friends and really gets the town behind her and like really believing in her. And obviously she runs into a couple of problems, a couple of challenges during her delivery business. But all in all, it's a very, very, like I said, a wholesome read, really quick read. There's not a lot of like anxiety. If you have anxiety and you want to get rid of it, I think you should read this book. We're big Kiki fans in this house. My daughter really loves Kiki. For her very first Halloween, she was Kiki. And actually, my friend, for my birthday, I'm right next to my dresser so I can show you. My friend got me this t-shirt for my birthday. It's so cute. This is a photo of the movie version of Kiki as opposed to like the book version of Kiki. She's a little bit different. Okay, the second book that I'm going to recommend is actually, I'm going to recommend the entire series, and it's the Dangerous Damsel series. So the Dangerous Damsel series is by the author India Holton. The first book is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, which is more diving into the realm of like pirates. And then the second book is The League of Gentlemen Witches. So that one's more, you know, introducing you to witches. And then the third one is The Secret Service of Tea and Treason. And that one's more, the main characters are assassins. So not all completely witches in this world. All 3 books are in the same universe, or they're in the same like realm. So there's pirates, there's witches, there's assassins, and they're all like real badass chicks. But I really loved this series. I gave 5 out of 5 for all of these books. They were so good. The story is so captivating, really exciting. There's a lot of like action and romance. The writing is really beautiful. There's so many like really good lines that I remember reading and just being like, oh my God, like really hit me. I borrowed all 3 of these books from the library, and considering that I gave them all 5 out of 5 reads, I'm pretty sure I'm going to at some point purchase them and reread them again because they're that good. Like I said, it's not completely revolving around witches, but it does involve some witches, some magic, floating houses, and a lot of like charms being involved. So it's definitely still what I would consider like a cozy witchy read that would be good to read during this time. The next witchy book that I'm going to recommend is the book that I read right after I read the whole Dangerous Damsel series. It's The Secret Society of Irregular Witches by, oh gosh, I want to get her name right, Sangu Mandana. I'm hoping that I'm saying that right. And she's supposed to be coming out with a new book in spring of next year, which I'm really excited for, and I am definitely going to purchase because The Secret Society of Irregular Witches, I absolutely loved it. It was just so good. The storyline was really good, and I loved all the characters. In this book, witches are meant to be in isolation from each other. Otherwise, when they're all together, magic kind of like runs amok. But they do meet, all the witches within a certain area meet like every, I want to say, I think it's like every 6 months or so, or maybe it's every 3 months. But they meet every so often just to go over some like any updates that they have. But the witch that the book is about is someone who has obviously been in isolation for like all her life, and she uses social media to pretend to be a witch and do potions and spells. She has a really big following of people who just watch her pretend to be a witch, when in actuality she actually is a witch. And one of her followers contacts her for help. Basically, the story is her helping this family with a problem. I don't want to give anything away. Like, how do you give it away? Oh, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read you the synopsis because there's no other way for me to describe it. Okay, a warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. That's all that I'm going to say. I'm going to give you the most basic brief of what this book is about. Obviously, you can go online and read like what it's actually about, but it was, for me, like a nearly perfect book. I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars because there was just this one little part of the storyline where I was like, that wasn't necessary. It's a romance, I mean, but what's great is like the book is about love, but not just with this one particular guy, but also with this family that she is somewhat becoming a part of. The part that really got me was that it got like a little smutty, and I just felt like it didn't need it. When I say little, I meant like it was a small section of the book that got smutty, and I was just like, you didn't need to do that. You could have kept it all closed doors or like behind the curtain or whatever they call it, and I would have had the same effect. That was the only reason why it wasn't perfect for me, because it just felt really out of place. It kind of felt like maybe at the time her editors were like, well, you need to put in a little bit of smut because that's what people are liking right now. And it's like, I don't need it. I don't need it in a cozy witchy book. I kind of wanted this to stay like a little bit more just like, I don't want to say innocent or like pure. It didn't need it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I'm really hoping that her next book that comes out, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, I'm really hoping that it stays cozy. I hope that it doesn't dive too much into smuttiness because it doesn't need it. So we'll see. Okay, so after that book, my next book series is the Practical Magic series. I've already read Practical Magic recently. It was very good. Also really different from the movie. A lot of details were changed, but I definitely still gave the same vibes of like, it's still this cozy small town, but there was also like some slight darkness that was creeping in. And there were a couple of times where I was like, oh, this kind of feels like a little bit like spooky. So it's cozy and it's spooky. And I still have all the rest of the Alice Hoffman books on my TBR, but I really liked Practical Magic. I think I would give it like a 4.5 as well, only because I'm not sure if I would really want to reread them again. Considering that she has like so many books in the series, I feel like, I don't know if it's something that I would need to reread again if I'm reading all the other books. Do you know what I mean? But it was still a really good read and definitely got me, and it made me want to watch the movie like right away too. Number 5 on my list is The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic, which I just finished I believe I just finished it last week, and that one was like a 5-star read. It was so good. The first 50 pages, it was a little hard for me to like get into it. I don't know why. I think it's just kind of like a slow buildup of like establishing all the characters and the setting, but I did really enjoy it in the end and was like not wanting to put it down. But basically this book follows a girl named Sadie. I think she's like 28 or something like that. 28-year-old woman named Sadie who owns a bakery with her grandmother, and they're obviously witches. In this realm, witches use they use natural ingredients to help people feel a certain way and be able to cope with situations in a certain way. And they do that through their bakery and the pastries that they make. With her family, each person has like a unique magical gift as well as a unique curse, and she has the curse of in her lifetime she will have 4 heartbreaks, and then after the 4th one it's said that like the 4th one will just hurt her so much to the point where all her magic will go away. And she's very much someone who is identified through her magic. She's very much connected to it and really cherishes it. Her grandmother is sick, and then the guy that she fell in love with like 10 years ago came back into town, and now she's like still in love with him and is worried that she's gonna get her heart broken again. So it's just about her kind of like navigating this particular time. Again, beautiful writing, great character development. I really love when there is a romance book that also introduces a loving relationship with family and friends. I really like establishing relationships outside of like a romantic relationship. I think it's very important to acknowledge love with other people, love within yourself as well, as opposed to just like relying on like some guy or some girl, you know what I mean? And this one had it with her twin brother, and I was really happy about it because you can see their relationship together, how they are definitely siblings who fight a lot. However, they still have like unconditional love for each other and will literally do anything for each other. Like anything. Okay, so the next one on my list is this book here. It's Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Again, this one's not a witch book, but it's a fae book and just within like the magical realm. I've had this on hold at the library for like months now because everybody's been trying to read it. It's a really beautiful book too. The hardcover is like so pretty. The illustrations on the front are just like so nice. I don't know if it's gonna... but this is by Heather Fawcett. A curmudgeonly professor journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark magic, friendship, and love in this heartwarming and enchanting fantasy. That's all I'm gonna read about it. I feel like that's all I really need to know. I haven't started this yet. I plan on starting it very soon. I hope to finish it soon as well because this is the next book that I have. This one's The Witch is Back. I was kind of like searching my library for any witch romance books, and this is one that came up. I had never heard of it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but it's called The Witch is Back by Sophie Morgan. It says, there's nothing wrong with being a wallflower, not to Emmeline Bluewater anyway. Emma may have been born into witchy society, but her days of trying to fit in where she doesn't belong are over. They ended 7 years ago when a man she'd hoped to marry left town without a word. Men are always leaving town without a word. What's the deal? Like, own up. She's much happier now, living a delightfully mundane human life in Chicago and running her bar, Toil and Trouble. Ugh, such a good name for a bar. Until Bastien True Note walks through the door and announces that he wants her back. Bastien had his reasons for leaving, even if he can't tell Emma what they are. Of course, there's a secret. Now to win Emma's heart, he's got to face down an adorably goofy dog familiar, a best friend who's all too eager to hit him with a carefully aimed hex, and a woman who's far from the meek witch he remembers. Magical contracts aren't easily broken, but as far as Emma's concerned, not even a marriage of convenience will have her falling under Bastian's spell again. Sounds so good. Again, I need to finish both of these books before October 19th because that's when I have to return them. I think I have like 2 weeks to read them, which should be more than enough, honestly. The next book that I have is one that I own. I bought this at Barnes & Noble a while ago when they were having like a buy one get one 50% off deal. This one's Cackle by Rachel Harrison. All her life, Annie has played it nice and safe. After being unceremoniously dumped by her longtime boyfriend, everybody's getting dumped all the time. God! She seeks a fresh start. Annie accepts a new teaching position and moves from Manhattan to a small village upstate. She's stunned by how perfect and picturesque the town is. The people are friendly and warm. Her apartment is dreamy too, aside from the oddly persistent spider infestation. That doesn't sound nice. Then Annie meets Sophie, beautiful, charming, magnetic Sophie, who takes a special interest in Annie and wants to be her friend. More importantly, she wants Annie to stop apologizing and start living for herself. That's how she lives. Annie can't help but gravitate toward the self-possessed Sophie and begins to spend more and more time with her, despite the fact that the rest of the townsfolk seem a little afraid of her. And like, okay, there are some things. Sophie's appearances, uncanny and ageless. Her mansion is in the middle of the woods, feels a bit unearthly, and she does seem to wield a certain power, but she couldn't be, could she? She could, girl! Sounds really juicy, sounds really good, sounds like there's some secrets, and I'm excited to read it. And considering that I have like so many books on hold at the library, I feel like I'm glad that I bought this one. Even normally I don't buy new books that often, but I'm glad that I got this one because I feel like it's gonna be one that's really good, very interesting. I mean, like I said, I already want to buy the whole series of Dangerous Damsels. I want to buy The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I also want to buy The Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I mean, like, all of these, I should have bought them. I should have known that I was gonna like them and want to reread them. After reading all of the synopsis, I'm getting like myself excited to like read again. I need to calm down. Number 8 on my list, I don't have the book because it's currently on hold at the library. There's like a million people in line waiting to read it, but it's the Xhex. I'm pretty sure you heard of it. 9 years ago, Vivian Jones nursed her broken heart like any young witch would. Vodka, blech. Weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on the horrible boyfriend. Sure, Vivi knows she shouldn't use her magic this way, but with only an orchard hayride scented candle on hand, she isn't worried it will cost him anything more than a bad hair day or two. That is until Reese Penhollow, descendant of the town's ancestors, breaker of hearts, and annoyingly just as gorgeous as he always was, returns to Graves Glen, Georgia, what should be a quick trip to recharge the town's ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall festival turns disastrously wrong. With one calamity after another striking Reese, Vivi realizes her silly little ex-hex may not have been so harmless after all. Suddenly, Graves Glen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat with some interesting things to say. Vivi and Reese have to ignore their off-the-charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late. Sounds like a lot of drama, and it sounds like my cup of tea. Number 9 on my list is The House Witch. I'm gonna mess up the author's name. I know I am. Delamock? Delamock. They don't even have a first or a last name. It's just one name. Like Seal. They're cool. But I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this book as well. And it's a series. I think there's another one. I think there's a number 2 in this series. Yes, there is. Finlay Ashowin joins the staff of the King and Queen of Daxaria. He's an enigma. No one knows where he comes from or how he came to be where he is, which suits Finn just fine. He's satisfied simply serving as the royal cook, keeping nosy passerby out of his kitchen, and concocting some truly uncanny meals. But Finn's secret identity doesn't stay hidden for long. After all, it's not every day a house witch and his kitten familiar, Kraken, take to meddling in imperial affairs. As his powers are gradually discovered by the court, Finn finds himself involved in a slew of intrigues, going head to head with knights with less than chivalrous intentions, helping to protect the pregnant queen, fending off the ire of the royal mage, and uncovering a spy in the castle. And that's only the beginning, because Finn's past is catching up with him, just as his love life is getting complicated. Filled with fascinating characters, courtly intrigue, political machinations? Machinations. Hold on, let me look it up. I need to look up how to say this, because I don't want to get it wrong. Let's listen. Machination. You know what? If you don't know a word, you just Google it, and then you listen to how they pronounce it, and that's how you pronounce it. Let me start over. Filled with fascinating characters, courtly intrigue, political machinations, delicious cuisines, cuddly companions, magical hijinks, and will they won't they romance, The House Witch is the first in a captivating new series guaranteed to satisfy the tastes of any reader. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this book, and somehow it's still a cozy witch book, which is so interesting. I feel like so many cozy witch books, there's so much drama that's going on, but somehow it's still considered cozy, and I love it. But I'm very excited to read this one. I believe, I don't think I have this one at my library. This is one that I would have to actually purchase, but that's fine. I don't mind doing that. But I feel like I already have all these other books that I need to read, so I'm like holding off on actually purchasing it until I'm really ready to read it. But it's on my list, and I think it should be on your list too, because it sounds very good. And then the last book that I have on my list is Small Town Big Magic. And I mean, even in the title alone, like that's exactly like what I want. I want small town vibes, and I want big magic. So Small Town Big Magic is by Hazel Beck. Witches, romance, and a bookstore setting, it's a hat trick. This cauldron of friends to lovers, fun with paranormal elements adds up to the perfect summer read. Oh, it's a summer read, eh? Okay. And it's part of a series. So there's also book number 2 that is supposed to be coming 2023, but I don't think it's out just yet. That one's called Big Little Spells. Oh, I see what they did there. Like Big Little Lies, except instead of lies, they're spells. I see. I get it. Anyways, this is the synopsis. Emerson Wilde has built the life of her dreams. Youngest Chamber of Commerce president in St. Cyprian history. Successful indie bookstore owner, and lucky enough to have her best friends as found family. Done. But when Emerson is attacked by creatures that shouldn't be real and kills them with what can only be called magic, Emerson finds that the past decade of her life has been a lie. St. Cyprian isn't your average Midwestern river town, it's a haven for witches. When Emerson failed a power test years ago, she was stripped of her magical memories. Turns out Emerson's friends are all witches, and so is she. That's not all, though. Evil is lurking in the charming streets of St. Cyprian. Emerson will need to learn to control what's inside her, remember her magic, and deal with old, complicated feelings of her childhood friend, cranky yet gorgeous local farmer Jacob North. They're always cranky, and they're always gorgeous, and they always look like a lumberjack. To defeat an enemy that hides in the rivers and shadows of everything she loves. Even before she had magic, Emerson would have done anything for St. Cyprian, but now she'll have to risk not just her livelihood, but her life. Don't miss Big Little Lies, Hazel Beck's exciting... that's a typo. They have a typo on here. They said, don't miss Big Little Lies, Hazel Beck's exciting new witchy rom-com. But I think they meant to say Big Little Spells, where one witch will have to prove her magic isn't a threat to all of witchkind. So cool. And then, of course, Barnes & Noble is just giving me all the other recommendations. Hold on, my battery's gonna die. Dang it. Okay, I had to change my battery. Anyways, like I was saying, after looking at all the synopsis on Barnes & Noble, it's giving me all of the other cozy witchy romance books that it thinks I would like. I have heard of The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, and I've heard that's very good. The other ones, I think The Kiss Curse is another Erin Sterling, which is the author who wrote the Xhex, but the other ones I have not heard of, so I'll have to look into them and see if they're available at my library. But yeah, that's my list of cozy witchy books, most of them being romance. I think all of them having some level of romance in it, except for Kiki. Yeah, is Tombo in here? Yeah. Does he have a little crush on Kiki? Yeah, but that's not what the story's about. So again, this is a good one if you just want like so chill, very low risk, no anxiety, you want to just relax. This is the book. Out of all of the magical, mystical, witchy, cozy books that I've read so far, I think my favorite was The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic so far. And obviously I have way more that I need to get through, especially if I want to finish them before like Christmas time, because once Christmas comes around, I feel like, yeah, like once it's December 1st, I want to start diving into the more like holiday Christmas romances. So yeah, if you have any recommendations for cozy Christmas books, cozy Christmas romance books, leave a comment down below. Let me know what I should save on my library bookmarks already, because like I said, there's literally books on my library TBR that are on hold with like 150 people, and it's just like they only have within the county that all shares the books, within the library county, there's only like maybe like 2 or like 5 copies at the most. So let me know what else I'm missing from Cozy Witch books. Let me know what I should put on my TBR for cozy Christmas books. And yeah, thanks so much for watching my video. Let me know if you read any of these books and what you think. I'm not a booktuber, I'm gonna admit that, but I like watching booktubers, and I like giving my 2 cents on like what books I've been reading. I've been very proud of myself this year for keeping up with reading. It's a actual New Year's resolution that I've been able to keep, and I think it's just like, it's so fun to get back into reading and learning about new books from everyone online. I mean, especially the Cozy Witch community. The Cozy Witchy book community is like, they're so tight. Like a lot of the books that I had on this list, I found them from someone on TikTok who literally had a full-on list and was like, here, take a screenshot. And I was like, yeah, girl, I will. Sharing is caring. Let me know what you read. Let me know what I should read. And I'll see you guys in the next Vlogtober video. Bye.